I am Bill Clary, and welcome to Power Hour. I'm excited to be here today to discuss the marketing aspect of the business, something that I've been very close to through the 3 decades I've been in this industry. So let me begin by just kind of posing a question to you. Do you have a process? A process on how to go about pulling a plan together and implementing that plan. Okay, so let's take a look at that. What is your marketing strategy? What's it consist of? Secondly, what is your current student demographic? Next, what is your budget requirements or restrictions? And then lastly, what is the plan, past and current, that you are going to implement to make this start successful? What changes or tweaks have you done to, let's say, not do the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result? So let's take a look at marketing strategy. Let's take a look at the options. And there is a lot of options. Today we have to look at all of them. So when we identify those kind of options, obviously we have the media sources through radio, TV, what's available. And if you're doing radio or TV, you should specifically understand what shows work, what time slots work, how effective that's hitting your specific demographic. Do you have a strong website presence where a lot of your inquiries are coming through your own website? You must be doing something right. It has to be visual. It has to be easy to transition from one page to another. So it has to be user-friendly. Marketing outreach events. Are we conducting any of those, and how many per quarter? And which ones work? Which ones maybe we should consider that we haven't? Do you have a high school program? Are you in the schools? Are you doing presentations? Are you doing career days? How's that working? Using the variety of social media sources and what works for your specific demographic or program. Pay per inquiry. Okay, landing pages. So there's so many options. And being able to hone which option or options work for you best. Have you been able to track each one effectively? Do you have an idea of the conversion of inquiry to student graduate on each and every source? So being able to strategize a marketing plan is quite detailed. And to be able to appreciate and delve into that detail is so critical when it comes to planning for the future. Now, when we're looking at the budget restrictions, some of you have got a limited budget or a budget that we can appreciate. It's one in which, it has its limitations. And based on what the expectation level is on a quarterly basis, it may or may not, based on your trends and admissions, be possible to hit the expected student population start rate. So that being said, what other options do you give yourself to look outside the box and see, what's available? Now, just to give you a little bit of headway on where we're going with this. Part of your marketing campaign not only falls on the marketing department's shoulders, but also it falls on the entire school. For the school to be successful, to a point, everyone's in marketing. Every employee. You want to be proud of who you represent, what they represent, and your history of a higher learning institution you should be extremely dedicated and proud of. So that said, what kind of strategy do you have to go above and beyond what the company can develop Okay, crickets. Nobody's saying anything. Well, it really comes down to personally developed inquiries being added to that campaign with a strategy that's very specific, committed, and it has to be bought into by the staff. Individually, collectively, you want your staff to have ownership in what they can provide their own business success and how many people they really are committed to impacting, which goes above and beyond simply being reactive to incoming inquiries. So that proactive piece of your marketing campaign, your process, your budget, and plan of action are just critical to today's learning institution being able to put themselves in a position to not only achieve expectation levels, but overachieve. And that's, I guess you could say, getting out of the box, but I have been teaching this process and implementing this kind of campaign in hundreds and hundreds of schools throughout the country, and it works as long as everyone buys in for their own reasons. So let's take a look at personally developed inquiry sources. First of all, everybody knows about student referrals. How's that working? Okay, I can sense that some of you are experiencing good things. In other words, you're getting prospective students through qualified inquiries that those students are writing down, which means that you've probably been doing something right and you've been earning their trust enough to want to recommend several of their friends or acquaintances your direction. Okay, so that's positive. Others of you may not have had, well, let's say, build a lot of traction from this source simply because you're just getting 2 or 3 names of people that they know that not necessarily have an interest in pursuing additional training or another career. They're fine where they are. Okay, so those aren't options. But student referrals are definitely a source when worked correctly, and I should say earned correctly, is huge. Now, student referrals are a little bit different from peer referrals in our personally developed inquiry strategy. When we break down the sources, friends helping friends or student referrals are current students. They are received from current students that are recommending someone our direction so we can consider them for further training. Okay? And hopefully it's somebody just like them, just as passionate, just as energized, committed to being successful. And that's not a bad way to introduce it because it makes them feel good about giving you people that they know that kind of fit into that mold, but it also makes them feel good because you've noticed those traits about them. So again, they feel more, let's say, of an urge to give you what you request because you've earned their trust. Peer references. Now, peer references are from those that are in the process of enrollment. They're still being interviewed. They're still in the pipeline. And those are folks just like your students that may be just as committed, just as energized, just as passionate about where they want to go, what they want to do, who they want to be, and who they want to support in a lifestyle that they've envisioned. And because you've earned that respect, well, they're going to be more apt to be able to share people that they could recommend that fit into that same mold, but also have a similar need, and that is to gain a career. It's how we bring it up. It's how we communicate. The next piece or source that has really been a godsend for so many schools, and that is network referrals. And network referrals come from a variety of different sources that are groups, organizations, corporations, personal contacts that you yourself have established. And oftentimes we see someone that wants a career, they need a career. They've communicated that within 5 minutes or less as you're going through Walmart. And why is that possible? Because you started a conversation. You may have noticed that they're not extremely, with their body language, excited to be there, passionate about what they're doing. So with that in mind, we start a conversation. We basically listen to a little bit of their story and where they are. And if it goes that way, then again, introduce yourself as a career planner. You match up, well, people just like them with great careers. And just simply ask, is that of interest? Because I could talk to you about that. Now, if it's a yes, great. Set up an interview. If it's not, that's okay. Maybe they know somebody else that could benefit. Okay, so the next step is to give them a business card, right? No, wrong. Again, just from experience, because I was one of those people that gave out business cards, it just doesn't work very well. I'm not going to wait on someone that, well, frankly, the chances of them calling back are very slim. So to increase your chances, you want to be able to identify their schedule, your schedule, a time that works. And if you leave a business card, it's with the time of the appointment in which to discuss the career planning options. Okay? I had one school director that was so passionate about network referrals that, well, he knew I was an early riser. In other words, every day I get up about 4:30 and come to work. And he knew that. So every day about 5:30 he would call me. And he would just kind of map out his plan for the week on where he could go and connect with, well, let's say a group of possible students because they fit the